The NFL stands for not for long.
Set, Sharga and Armstead. Roll out, Walker still running out. Looks to the left, wide open, Thompson touchdown. Colin Thompson with the touchdown. There was nobody within 20 yards.
What a catch off the bobble. Colin Thompson scoops it up.
Lofting corner, the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. The first NFL touch for Colin Thompson is a score.
What's up, everybody? Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. The Masters were incredible. They always deliver. Welcome back to the Colin Thompson Show, presented by Boiron, Arnicare, the official sponsor of the Colin Thompson Show and Not For Long Media. Lots to discuss about the weekend, about the Masters. But before I do, I want to talk about the guest we have on today, Sean Rash. I interviewed Sean a couple weeks ago at this point in time, and what a treat he is. He comes with a loaded lineup where, you know, he was an All-American, two-time in Wichita State. He was the PBA Player of the Year. That's right. We're having bowler Sean Rash on. This guy's incredible. You're going to love him. PBA Player of the Year. He's won ESPYs. He's been someone who's represented the country. He's someone who's philanthropic and travels around the world and spreading the good word of bowling, but also, you know, he helps veterans. He gets into all that in the show. He's absolutely fantastic. A great guy, a great dad, someone who's edgy and fun and kind of says what's on his mind. We get into Boiron Arnicare, which is a sponsor of our show. They support him as well, and the impact it's had on our careers. The pain relief, the allergy relief this time of year for me, like mowing my lawn. The other day I got into the allergy stuff that the people at Boiron and Arnicare hooked me up with. Literally game-changing. Just sleeping through the night alone is a win, right, during allergy season sometimes. So very, very thankful for their support. And we get into all that, which is so really, really cool because, sure, they support us, but it's an authentic situation where they've had major impacts on both of our careers. So check out Boiron Arnicare for your pain relief, natural, homeopathic pain relief. Been around for literally forever. And it's a first-class product with first-class people. So Sean Rash, thanks for joining the show. I look forward to sending it over to him in a second. But before I do, I need to talk about the Masters. The Masters killed it again this year, literally destroyed it. Like, is there any competition, or there's any game or a Super Bowl or Stanley Cup or event that's even remotely close to this, where people that aren't even really fans of golf sit down and watch this thing? And if you're a mediocre fan, you're all in. And if you're an all-in fan, you don't move yourself from the couch for 4 straight days. The storylines are always great. And the majority of the time, the storyline is actually Augusta, is the golf course, because it's elite. It's one of a kind. There's nothing like it, like this event. Like you can't fabricate how good it is. I think it's also the kickoff to summertime, the warmer weather. Plus, back to storylines, you have the storyline of, sure, the course and all the amazing things that come about it. And you know, there's no phones, which is a whole case study in itself, and all the people having fun and living in the moment. The food that's affordable, the rules they have about the course, the way they go about it, the tradition, the history, and then the other things, right? How amazing the announcers are, whether you're listening to on Sirius XM radio, like I did a little bit this weekend, they were fantastic. Golf on the radio, they killed it. Then the TV, like, unbelievable job. The coverage is ridiculous, the way ESPN and CBS do it. Everybody rises to the occasion, including the players, most importantly, right? Fantastic. And big thanks to Tiger Woods, because without Tiger, it's not the same. So Scottie Scheffler's a monster. They have great young players with great trajectory in this game of golf, and it dominated again this weekend. I would love to know your thoughts, folks. Like, is there a better event? Is there a better thing that has so much juice around it? Not just like a Super Bowl where it's 2 teams and you root for your team and whatever. This is like you root for the whole thing. You don't have to pick a golfer to win. It's very unique. And to me, there's nothing really like it. It was a great, great weekend of golf and following that. And I had an absolute blast following it. Shout out to our friends over at the original Fudge Kitchen. They ship fudge and sweet treats across the country. FudgeKitchens.com. Check them out, guys. Mother's Day is getting here faster. The warmer weather is getting here faster. Easter just came and went, a huge time for the original Fudge Kitchen. But like I said, they ship it around the country. First-class approach to how they do it. And they've been great to us here at Not For Long Media. Support them. Let us know we sent you. check them out, fudgekitchens.com. All right, guys, that's enough out of me. Quick one for me today on the intro. Hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. I mowed my lawn, hung out with some friends, and got ready for the big week ahead. A lot going on with training and trying to get into NFL training camps and work, and really cool event. Actually, I get to host or work or MC, if you will, the Uplifting Athletes event that we'll get into more here after I do it this Wednesday coming up. Really cool event with really special people uplifting athletes. But without further ado, Sean Rash, an absolute legend on the PBA tour and a great guy, a great dad, and someone I'm looking to become closer with because I really had a great podcast, and I think you guys see this. Sean, thanks for your time out in Vegas. All right, Sean Rash is joining us. How you doing, brother? How you feeling? I know you're out there battling in Vegas right now.
Yeah, good morning. Lovely Viva Las Vegas here, right? It's nice outside. We're feeling it. Things are good. It's our second, third major of the year, the USBC Masters. Second half of the season starting up, and round one was just okay yesterday, and I bowl round two later tonight. And a long day of just kind of sitting around watching bowling, doing therapy, working out, just getting ready for tonight.
There's so many questions I have about the bowling business, but I just want to start with you. Like, tell us about your family. Tell us about your normal life, the other side of a professional athlete, right? Because we all have them. We're all involved in things, whether it's philanthropic things or coaching or, just hanging out with family and friends or people going to the same local bar on a Friday night or whatever. Like, everyone's normal, which people don't understand from professional athletes, whether you're a bowler or you're an NFL player. But just talk about your family, like your community. I know you live outside Chicago.
Yeah, I live an hour out west of the burbs in Montgomery, Illinois. I've got a wife, Sarah, and three beautiful girls, Kaylee, Olivia, and Elena, 10, 5, and 3. My mom and dad just retired. I say just, it seems like yesterday. They live about 10 minutes from us. My father-in-law lives close. My mother-in-law lives close, and her husband. So we're real close family-wise. It's funny you talk about the neighborhood and everything. When COVID happened, the neighborhood became family, right? Nobody wanted to be around anybody or talk to anybody. And, we'd walk around the block and we see families in driveways. And our one good couple friends we'd bowl league with actually on Tuesday nights. And we would hang out on the driveway and, get the grill going, get the fire pit going, and have a couple beers and cook and all that stuff. And so we've got a group of 4 families. Now it's turned into about 6 or 7, to where every weekend in the summer we cook out, and we rotate homes, right? Like one house will do one meal and one house will do a different meal. And we have 3 or 4 huge parties in the summer, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and we just stack up the grills. And I stack up the beer coolers.
Who stacks the coolers? I want to know that guy.
Yeah, I don't cook, so I'll help provide the food, but I'll let them cook because they're the experts at that. But I feed them the beer, they cook the food, and then we feed our kids. So my neighborhood is my family. Out here on tour, it's like any sport. You got a clique of guys, right? There's all the people you hang out with. But my best friend, Matt Ogle, from Kentucky, we room together. We've been friends for 5 or 6 years now, if not longer. But we're a small group out here on tour. We go bowl, we go eat, we go to the room and watch our TikToks and Facebooks and TV shows and whatever else.
Everybody else.
Pretty much.
I love the road, man. Right, it's double-edged sword, right? A little bit different for you guys. We pop in, we pop out. I'm always considered on the road as a bottom level NFL player. I've never owned a piece of property where I've played. I've never signed a lease more than 6 months. I've been in and out of pro football for 7 years. This is going on 8. I still consider myself a pro athlete training. It's pro athletics. You're not making any money. It doesn't sound that much fun as a free agent, but I love the road. I love the getting away and getting with your guys and the conversation and, decompressing and going through your routine. Like, is that something you enjoy too? I know it's a little different for bowling, but for us, I enjoyed like going away for camp and getting around the team and the guys and all the bullshit that comes with it.
Yeah, like you said, double-edged sword, right? When I come home, I screw up the routine. That's what my wife always says. I want to help so much because our wife does so much. They're the real winner in this, right? In my mind. I have
Hey, you're trying to make up. You're trying to make up for lost time. You're like, what can I do? It's like, I'll throw something in the wash and run the wash. She's like, what are you doing? Why'd you just put that on heavy? Like now there's a puddle of water all over the floor. So I do the dishes.
It's cold.
I'm the dish guy. I'm the dish guy.
Yeah. I'm the dish guy too. That's so funny. A lot of similarities, but she just sent me this video the other day of when I come home and do laundry, I'll take the laundry upstairs. Well, she wants to do that. And you got to bring one down when you take one up. And it's just so crazy that you said that. But I'm on the road about 200 plus days a year. I love it quite a bit. I started the PBA tour in 2005 as a rookie. We call it rabbit squads, trying to get into the main field. I was lucky enough to be the first to win in 2006 for quite some time to do that. Our tour used to be like October to April. We would bowl 8 to 12 weeks, have Christmas, New Year's off, bowl 8 to 12 weeks, be done. And there's been so many roller coaster things that has happened with new ownership, with Boiron buying it 4 or 5 years ago, right during COVID. Our seasons now are like January to May, and it is crammed. It's like week. There's no really off weeks. We've had 2 weeks off here just a little bit ago, or at least I kind of did. I still worked and did some stuff. So I was on the road doing clinics and camps and special events. But now we're on the go till May 1st, and I'll be home for a couple weeks, and I'm literally setting up a 4 or 5 week tour in Asia with Japan, Singapore, and Korea with clinics for our military bases and a special tournament to bowl. And I just, like you said, love being on the road. I miss my kids dearly, but at the same time, it's one of those, you got to provide. And not being one of the best players in the world like I was for so long, you kind of lose a little bit of the income from competing. So you have to make up for it on the flip side of doing coaching clinics or special exhibitions.
Yeah, right. It's like any passage for any player. I'm doing a bunch of stuff too. Doesn't make you really any money in football per se. It's a little bit different sport. Football takes like 22 people, a couple coaches, headsets, a whole lot. I mean, I know bowling takes up a lot of things too, but there's so many moving pieces in football that really makes it hard to replicate. That's why I think the sport's so intriguing. Yeah, obviously I'm biased, but it just added some conversation to the travel brigade. Like I would love to go do the clinic, but if I feel like if I would charge, it would be like a separate thing. Now talk about what you're doing though overseas with the military stuff, because that sounds really cool and really interesting.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for over a decade for our military, for the Air Force Base, Navy bases, Army bases. I've been all over the world, Germany, UK, Italy, Japan, Korea, and I'm probably missing one or two, but we'll pop in, we'll do a couple hour clinic with any of our servicemen or women that have the day off. Take a little bit of a break, and then we'll do another one, or we'll do like a pro-am type event where they bowl and we bowl and basically just shoot the shit, right? Have a good time with them. I remember doing my very first one. Well, I should have done my first one, but I was going with Randy Peterson to Okinawa to go to Kadena Air Force Base, and a typhoon came in. We literally were in our room for 4 days straight. We're not allowed to leave the room. We loaded up on pizza pockets and chips and waters, and everyone got as much beer as you could because you weren't allowed to leave. I mean, it literally shut the base down. It shut the island down. I have a video on my computer of this guy trying to army crawl from one building to the other just to get some water and food for his family. And just surreal moment. This was back in like 2007, 2008. But really got heavy into it early 2012, 13. I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to Kadena, Camp Foster, Misawa Air Force Base, Yokosuka Naval Base. We've been to Spangdahlem, Ramstein, Mildenhall, Aviano. Just set one up this morning with Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. We've done them all over the world, but the first one I ever really did in Korea was at Camp Humphreys or Yongsum Air Force Base, one or the other. But I just remember being in tears talking to the servicemen and women, like, thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. I can't believe I'm here, playing a game when you guys go out and risk your lives day in and day out so I can play a game. And they presented this, cool, like trophy looking thing. It was a dragon. It sits right above my desk, and it's surreal, like I said.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think when it comes to the servicemen and women and you're playing sports and all the different things, how do you say thank you is doing stuff like you're doing, right? Like that is a major impact, because people don't do that. And just the conversation alone, like they're normal people too, right? They just, this is their career path and their world. And that's amazing you're doing that. So the business of football is an interesting one. We always talk about it on the show. I always ask our guests about the business of whatever they're in, primarily if they're a sports guest. Obviously, you're in bowling. I'll be honest with you. I bet none of us listening, maybe one person, so your family that will tune into this show, knows about the business of this situation, right? Because in football, we're sprinters. The careers are short. You make little money. Maybe you'll make a lot, but it's not guaranteed. You better play in all those games. That's the only way you get your money. Your pension set up at 3 years. Most of us play 2.5 years. I played 7 years of pro football, but I really technically have only played 2 because of my pension planning as balloons and things are coming up here on my StreamYard. I digress. There is crazy business of football, and obviously it's a massive, massive conglomerate. But take us into some of the funky things about bowling, tournaments, prize money, salaries, sponsors. Like, obviously there's a ton to cover there, but just the basics of like, hey, this is how it works and this how we get paid, how we work ourselves up to getting paid. Like, how does it all look?
So the crazy part about our sport, when I first came into it in 2005, 2006, a lot of the guys on tour didn't have salary type contracts unless you won on tour. It was one of those, you needed to win to prove yourself. Now there were some guys that had some like sponsorship deals. We pay an entry fee every week to bowl, which is weird, right? You don't pay $1,000 to go play a football game.
Now it's like me rolling up to the bowling alley paying to bowl.
Yeah, you literally, the tournament we're bowling this week, if you average, I think you have to be 190 or higher. As soon as the entry form's open, you could sign up. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad, what part of the world you're from, how you throw it, male, female, you could bowl this event. $500 you're in. You look at the 455 people bowling and you just kind of go, all right, whatever. So, but it's not money driven by entries, right? It does help. It offsets a lot of the cost, but production on television is extremely expensive, as you're aware, right? 4 or 5 years ago, the PBA tour went from ESPN, which they were a long sponsor for over 25, 30 years, to Fox Sports. We've seen a pretty good growth in that over the last 4 or 5 years. They just re-signed on for the next couple of years. So that's a great thing for us on our tour to know that we have a TV package. I think it's like 60 to 70 hours of live TV on FS1 or Fox Sports. For example, I'll be on television this Saturday at 4 o'clock local time here on FS1 for the PBA League, which was created a decade ago, but it's starting to catch some momentum. We're starting to bowl in every city we compete in instead of just one location. We used to just all go to Portland, Maine, which is a phenomenal place, great food, unbelievable host Charlie Mitchell and their people there. They do a really good job. But now we have like a playoff system where we have 8 teams in our league, and the final 6 get there, and it feels like you earned your way there instead of just, hey, show up and bowl. But salaries, I've been fortunate to work for 2 different companies in my career. I worked for Brunswick Bowling for 17 years. I left them 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that, to 900 Global, who's basically under the Storm Products brand out of Utah. They're the #1 brand in bowling. They've had an unbelievable run. The Chrisman family, the owners, are just great people. We just lost Bill Chrisman this past year, which has been a huge hit to a lot of us. He was basically an icon in our sport. He created the brand from the ground up, always gave back to the bowlers at every level. It didn't matter if it was youth bowling, high school bowling, college bowling, professional bowling, men and women. The Chrismans always took care of the sport. So But outside sponsors, I was kind of one of the first to start getting some outside sponsors.
Is that on you, or is that on an agent? Like, or how's it work?
All me. We don't have agents in our sport. You're your own agent, so you better be able to talk to someone. People find out real quick I'm an outgoing guy. If you've watched any of my clips on television, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I will honestly say some of the things I've said on TV that have hurt me a little bit in the public eye. I have no idea what's coming out of my mouth. It's just boom, boom, boom. It goes. And then I go, oh boy, I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not terrible, but it's gone. Right. I have no problem asking you for a sponsorship. Like, the worst thing you can tell me is no.
You have to be like that, though. We do it at the media company, and we run a podcast media company. It's mutual benefiting, right? And
100%.
If you're paying us, hopefully hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, I don't know if we can fill that void. I'll be honest, but damn sure I'm going to try for it. And if we're going to come down from that number and make it mutual benefiting, sure. What's the difference, right?
Like, for example, I'm drinking Fiji right now. They're not a sponsor, but I'd take them in a heartbeat. I'll drink Fiji everywhere. We put it on your podcast. We could put it in a bowling tournament.
Come on, Fiji.
I'll take free product to start, and then we can figure out whatever's next.
Yeah, I like your approach with that. That's great.
Yeah, so I remember going to the ESPYs in 2012, and I met this lady, Mary Rainoff. She was working the Xbox booth. And basically everybody was getting an Xbox. A lot of the NFL guys, Major League Baseball, all these big wigs are there, right? All the great players, and they're playing their games. And I'm not a gamer by any means. My brother used to be when I grew up in Alaska, but I'm sitting there playing the game, and we're talking. And she's like, "Hey, do you want an Xbox?" I was like, "Sure." What do I do? Like, I'm never really given anything for free. I'm not used to that. And she's like, "I'll just send it to you." And she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a professional bowler." She's like, "Oh, my dad loves bowling. And I was like, "Oh, great. Where do you guys live?" We live in Oregon. I was like, "Oh, we're going to be in Reno in a few weeks." "Oh, can we come watch?" 100%. They come down. They watch me bowl. We start talking. Next thing I know, I got an Xbox logo on my jersey.
Yep. That's how it goes, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is it. Like, you could shoot DMs and do all that stuff all you want, but I have a couple stories I forget. It's funny. I was talking to someone the other day. There's a local hot sauce company. Shout out to Hank's Hot Sauce. I'll give them a shout out. They're really good. Jersey Shore, like Hank's is so good. Honestly, we'll become friends after this. I'll send you a bottle for the summer cooks out. Like, it's really, really good. Long story short, I meet the guy in Whole Foods, another shout out to another brand. We're just pumping brands right now. And I knew they were doing like a tasting, but I just wanted to go see the company because I live like 3-4 hours away now, and they were doing a tasting in my local Whole Foods. I'm like, great, I'll go pick up some things for the house, and I'll go see the gentleman that was there. Well, my buddy wasn't there. His partner was there. So I introduced myself, blah, blah, blah. We started talking. He's like, yeah, the one day they're down in Nashville, they're hanging out, handing out like Hank sauce bottles, like messing around, like partying. And they hand a Hank sauce bottle to this person in a Tractor Supply shirt, ends up being the person that's the top sales person for all the Tractor Supply or whatever, and now they're in every Tractor Supply like on the East Coast, just by bumping into people and talking and saying hi. So it's the same thing. And again, I don't know all the details of that story, so Hank Sauce, don't get mad at me if that's wrong, but I think that's the gist of it, right? Like, communicate, be your number one advocate. And the bottom line is, though, what people don't understand, Sean, is your career and bowling's longer than football, but your career is short in athletics. Period.
Oh, yeah.
Most people start working. You've been working forever on athletics, and what'd you get paid for? 15 years of it? 10 years of it?
Oof, maybe. I doubt even that much. I mean, I live in Chicago now. Like, I lived in Wichita, Kansas for a decade, and I laugh when I tell people, because my wife's from the Schaumburg, Hanover Park area, and I moved to her family because my parents were still in Alaska. But if we would have stayed in Wichita, we'd probably have $500,000 more in the bank account just because of the cost of living.
Crook County, baby.
Yeah, $500,000 doesn't seem like a lot to people. I know it seems like a hell of a lot to me, especially with 3 kids, with how expensive they are. So, but I'd always have to make a connection. We wouldn't be close to the family, but I'm family first, 100%. Like, if I got a phone call right now, you need to come home, I'm coming home. There's always going to be another tournament. There's going to be another season. Like, when my back injury started, I basically I won't ever forget, I was on my knees looking at my wife like, my career's over. What's next? And she said, we'll figure it out. Take a deep breath. Let's go through let's go see the doctors. Let's go figure everything out. And, here we are today. We're still competing. So
we'll get into injuries in a second. Like you bring that up, football, there's a million avenues to get into. Podcast, media, when your career's over, right? Coaching, shit. You can be an equipment manager. You could work in ticket sales. Like it is a huge economy, as we all know. We're all fans of teams, college teams, whatever. But bowling, what's next, right? Like there's not obviously many options.
Yeah, so there's been a few Hall of Famers in our sport that have basically paved the way to show us some things. You can get into pro shops, which are great. The pro shop business does really well if you're in a great location, right? It comes down to location. Some have ran some bowling centers. Mike Albee, one of the greatest left-handers our sport's ever seen. I think 5th all-time on titles, 30 or 34, something like that. Has a great facility in Indianapolis area. Steve Cook ran one out here on the West Coast and whatnot. You can get into sales a little bit. I'm guessing my avenue will be like international sales or
you crush that.
Clinics, demos. I'm starting to do a lot more like ball demo type event clinics and pro-ams. Cool. Those have become really popular with our industry. And so I have an avenue. It might not make the money that we can make in the professional side if you have a great year or two, right? $100,000 check's a pretty good check, or even 25 grand. But giving back, you give back and you make money. It goes back to the military things, right? Like I'm giving back to somebody that, one, protects my freedom. And I get a lot of people that say, oh, you just do it for the money. And I look back and I go, I make a little bit of money on it. I don't make a lot of money on it.
There's other ways you can make that money though. Like,
oh yeah,
with that time, that's a week.
Time.
More, how much? That's weeks away from your family, months.
Correct.
And that's other things you could be doing to build your business out, or your entity outside of bowling.
I look at it though that no one else is doing it, right? So like, if somebody's gonna, like, I'm trying to train the next group. I had some great mentors. Parker Bone kind of helped me get started with some of these clinics and stuff, and a few other guys. And I just feel like it needs to continue to happen, right? We got to continue to thank them. I also look at it deeper. It keeps our sport involved, right?
Eyeballs.
Eyeballs on opportunities with, sponsors, whoever may see you doing stuff like that. There's just so many, I go back to the story with Xbox. Mary went from Xbox to T-Mobile. I had T-Mobile the next year, but she did some stuff with military. She got me into a military contact to future opportunities. So opening doors, and you never know how far they're going to open until you walk through.
Dude, PBA, screw the post. I'm thinking, oh, what's next? You're going to get a job for the PBA doing all the marketing and advertising, relationships, you could be an agent. You should just be an agent for these guys. You'll be the first.
It's funny you bring that up. So I am somewhat of an agent for two people.
There you go.
Boiron / Arnicare, one of my sponsors. And I'm also kind of a liaison for a couple others for a sunglass company called Ray's Eyewear out of Colorado Springs. And then also for one other guy for Tony Stewart Racing. So I've created relationships with 3 different brands for multiple players. And I was doing everything for basically free for a long time. And everyone's like, you need to stop doing that. You need to charge us, 5% or 10%. And I had no idea what to even charge. So I called Devontae Adams' agent, actually Kenny, and was like, what do you do? Like, how do you do this? How does this work? And he's like, depends on what the number is to start, right? How much you think you can get, and then just flat fee across the board. And I'm like, all right, thanks, dude. Appreciate you. And here we are, 3 different sponsors that sponsor 3 other athletes, male and female in our industry. And who knows how big it can go as long as things continue to go the right way.
You're going to make more money outside of bowling, sitting in your house, putting dogs and burgers and drinking, maybe a nice.
I wish, man. That's the one thing that we struggle with. And I know the PBA is trying. I know the BPAA is trying, USBC. I know they're all trying. I feel at times we don't risk enough. And I don't know all the ins and outs. So this is where I get in trouble with my mouth opening within my industry. But I just don't know all of the information. But like, we push so hard sometimes, and then we don't, like when they say no, you need to go back. Why did you say no?
3 times, my mom says. They need to tell you no 3 times. So when the NFL tells me no for the 3rd time, Sean, which will probably be this year, hopefully not, but if it happens, I'll be done. I'll be done. And
Well, hopefully you only hear it twice, right? That's the goal. You only want to hear
That's
it
the goal. That's the goal, man. No doubt. I think it's funny you bring up, Arnicare and Boiron. They work with us at the show here. But so we were talking. I've used the product before for some pain relief, some arthritis stuff. And okay, so we start discussing things, and I'm like, great, I need to try some more product because I've used it before playing, especially for my hands, right? Like low back stuff, right? The normal stuff that everybody goes through. But like as athletes, like bowler, a lot of twisting, trunk movement, back stuff, all your hand stuff. Like I'm grabbing people, gripping people, and then I'm lifting, and then I'm swimming, and then I'm driving my car, and I can't even drive my car because my hands are so banged up. But I'm telling you, like the Arnicare product, like serious sponsorship side has been massive for me and my hand health, like just function, movement, joints. Like for you as a bowler, like when I bowl, which would be like once or twice a year, my right hand is shot, like the inside of my right hand, because I'm probably A, not doing it right, and then B, like I'm trying to grab the ball and throw it 1,000 miles an hour like it's a football or like a kettlebell, like I throw around all the time.
Yeah.
So like the palm of my hands, man, I have to put the cream on after, and I feel great the next day, like I didn't play. So like talk about your injuries, and just because every sport's different, as I'll digress here some more, right? Like everybody laughs at like golf, right? Like how can you get hurt? But like my father-in-law who played professionally, man, all that twisting, all that torque, like their elbows, their knees, their hips, like crazy. Football, obviously we know all the injuries there, but bowling, what's common for you guys? Like hands, backs, knees?
Yeah, knee, hand, back, shoulder. I've had them all, unfortunately. My first injury was my knee in Japan in 2008. I threw a shot and basically knifed all the way up my leg. I popped a tendon in my right hand in 2015 at the U.S. Open in Dallas. That took about 2 years to figure out. And then, just recently, unfortunately, my lower back with degenerative disc disease, arthritis, bulging discs, a couple tears, you name it. It just seemed like everything came together at once, unfortunately. But, I look at it kind of like a blessing and not a blessing, right? The blessing of, hey, you need to go take care of yourself a little better, right? I'm 42 years old. I've been in pretty good shape my whole life. I travel for a living, right? So you don't eat the greatest on the road.
Tough.
It's very, very hard to do that. But just getting in the gym. I mean, I'm in the gym 4 or 5 days a week now, especially at home. My wife was like, hey, go get a Planet Fitness membership. I got an elliptical at home and some weights, but if I'm at home, I'm distracted by the kids, or unfortunately, we just lost our dog, taking the dog out or whatever the case was. And so now she's like, hey, go. So I go and I go work out, and then I go practice. So I treat it as a job again, right? It's 3-4 hours I'm gone, but it's 3-4 hours when the kids are in school. So then I come home and I can do the dad stuff. And at the same time at the gym, whether I'm on the bike or treadmill or whatnot, I can be on my phone and do all my social media stuff that I need to do, because we're attached to these lovely things every day.
Business, man.
Yeah.
Business.
Frustrating. I mean, my kids are on their tablets, and it's just part of life now, right? It's unfortunate.
That's the scary part. And my wife and I are expecting, and we're like, going through the normal, right, process of A, we don't know what we're doing, and B, when are we going to get a tablet in their hand right away? Like we're at dinner and there's like a couple letting their kid watch something on the TV. The kid's like, or on the iPad, right? The kid's like 2 years old. And I'm like, we're not going to do that, right? But we're definitely going to do that. Like,
is this your first one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Get a tablet, get the Switch, get the computer, just get the earbuds, get it ready.
Everything that we're like, we're not doing it. We weren't raised on it, but it's all going to be bullshit.
I would tell you, prep your house, get your house ready to go. That was one of the, when we first had our first one, it was like all the cabinets were done, all the gates were up, all the stairs things were blocked, get everything baby proof. But I will guarantee you, when they're 2, 3, 4 years old and they go through their tantrums and you're trying to eat, you put that tablet in front of them, you can eat. And I don't know how you are, but you almost kind of feel embarrassed when you're out because your kid's screaming. but we've all been
yeah.
through it. And you're like, okay, they always say, right, if kids are screaming, they're either hungry, they need to go to the bathroom, or they're tired.
Right.
I mean, how do you fix that? Well, put them to sleep, give them some food, take them to the bathroom, right? Control their mind. So my mom always laughs that I was really bad in the restaurants as a kid. I would sit in the van with my mom, my dad would eat, they would switch and take turns. My wife was just telling someone the other day, 2's perfect, 3's a hellhole, and 4 kind of gets back to normal. We stopped at 3. So I don't know why.
That's why you have all those friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, and we've got plenty of kids, mostly girls in our neighborhood. I mean, there's got to be our main core 4. We have 12 kids, 4, 3, something like that. Yeah, 11 kids. You add on the next 2 families with grandkids and everything else, it's like 25 kids, and it just
Wow.
Here, guys, go outside, have a good time. So, but yeah, I miss the road at home. This week, of course, is tough. It's spring break week. So all the families are going to be getting together. The weather's somewhat decent. 3 o'clock was happy hour. 4 o'clock we're ordering food, and Easter being Sunday, I fly home Easter Sunday unless I'm able to make the cut this week and make the show, which who knows what'll happen. But Sunday, Easter, and then I leave Tuesday for Detroit, and I'm gone for a month.
Wow, man, that's the grind. What do you bring with you on the road? Like for me, like I'm talking like more like health, pain relief stuff, because I'm like more shout outs. I mean, Christ, you and I, we could sell this podcast. I go like I'm an Athletic Greens guy. I love fish oil, turmeric. I'm a big creatine believer, more for mental health, physical health, of course, too. And then the Boiron Arnicare products obviously has been huge for me. I've talked about it on here ad nauseum on the pod. Just again, I keep bringing up the hands because I use them all the time. And obviously for you, that's your business. For me, it's my business. I'm constantly pulling, pushing, hitting, grabbing, you name it. So what are some things that you bring on the road to help you get through stuff? Foam roller, stuff like that?
Yeah, I have a foam roller. I've got this weird looking pillow that I lay on my back that kind of puts your discs back into place. I do that in the morning, afternoon, evening, 2-3 times a day. I got a massage gun, all the hand cream stuff you can think of for your hands because they dry out real quick, especially being here in Vegas. You're putting your hand into rubber grips and a thumb mold with tape and rosin, so your hands get real dry. I actually have this arthritis cream with me. I use that mostly for my lower back. I've got all those different roll-on sticks. Back in the day, it was BioFreeze or whatever else, and you stunk, right? You smelled. Partnering with Boiron, I've got the roll-on stick, and it does the same thing, and I don't smell anymore.
And it doesn't have all that crap in it either. You're like,
yeah. It's funny you mentioned turmeric. Everyone keeps telling me I need to do more and more turmeric for the arthritis part. So
magnesium. I would add magnesium to that. So I know I just said like 6 things, but in the world with like million advertise all this crap, I don't know. They're like the 5-6 things I like stand by that I take on a routine basis. And like if I'm off of it, I'm okay. But like eventually after a month or so, I'm like, which I did this year, I'm like, I'm getting off everything. I'm going clean dry. I'm just going to go like this. And then I came back home ready to start training again. I'm like, I feel different, but now I feel back to normal because I'm back like taking my normal processes.
Some of my biggest things that I've benefited from Boiron mostly is the allergy stuff. Living in Wichita, Kansas, I just saw on the news the other day, it's the #1 city in our country for allergies. And my allergies are atrocious. So I've got the tablets that melt under your tongue, the pill, you name it. They've sent that to me, and it's just been great. One of the biggest things I do with Arnicare is 5 to 10 events a year. We'll send out a box of goodies and samples to our bowlers during our Pro-Am events. So we're actually getting ready to do this in Detroit in a couple weeks. There'll be 100 to 200 bowlers bowling a Pro-Am with some of the best bowlers in the world, and they'll get a goodie bag from Arnicare, and it's got cold medicines, the roll-on sticks, the arthritis creams, and you name it. And I can't tell you how thankful I am for this company to give out basically free samples and free products to all these people. And the biggest benefit is the emails that I get back. Hey, thank you for that free sample. It's changed how my body feels. My mom uses it on a daily routine right now. She's got a bad hip and back, and she loves being able to put that on and feel some relief for a little bit. So it's been a great thing and a great partnership for bowling for myself. This is my 3rd year with them. I've been able to bring on EJ Tackett, who was our player of the year last year, as part of the team, and then Danielle McCune from New York, who's one of the best female bowlers in the world as well. So when it started, it was just me, right? And now we're up to 3 people. And we got to see him a few weeks ago in Delaware. We were bowling, so I got to go to dinner with Janique and Dana and just kind of talk about some stuff. I took them to a bowling event, showed them how the Pro-Am worked, and let them understand the hype of what it goes on, and realistically kind of help move forward. Like I mentioned Matt Ogle earlier, he's kind of the next guy on the radar to put in the team. So we'll just keep asking questions and keep doing the right things with social media and everything else, promoting the product and, growing the brand and seeing how far it can go.
Sean, you need a podcast, brother. Let me know. I'm a media company. We can build one for you if you don't have one.
Man, I would love to do a podcast. It's funny that you say that. So our sport it's probably been 6 years ago, Brad Miller, Kyle Sherman, 2 guys that I would call journeymen on the tour, right? They're not the best bowlers in the world. They're not a threat. Yeah, they're not a threat to win every week. But what they did was they created a YouTube channel. And they are by far the most active out of everybody on tour. And they do an unbelievable job for our sport, telling about it, teaching it, what life is like on the road. Kyle, I think, has 2 titles. Brad's made a few shows, but they do an amazing job with their podcasts and their YouTube channels. And now there's like 6 or 7 guys that do it, and women are doing it. I mean, I have one that I think I have 4,500 subscribers. And I couldn't tell you how hard it was to just continue to get them, right? And put content out. And you just wonder what you miss doing it. But going back to agents, right? I don't have a set schedule with like an agent. Hey, you do this time frame. And I try to make sure when I'm home that I'm being a dad instead of on my phone, which I'm still on it too much. So sorry, honey and kids, but it's a part of life.
I want it too.
Yeah. But they make a great income for it. The YouTube, I hope it doesn't go away. Instagram was, pumping out money like crazy there for a while with reels and stuff. Facebook still does it. Little money avenues here and there, but I'm more of the business to business. I'd rather go talk to Fiji or to Arnicare face to face instead of doing a podcast for an hour and say, hey, listen, I can offer you this. We can go do this. I can give you this player, and let's go to work. And then if somebody wants to do a podcast here and there, okay, let's do it. But I'm a face-to-face business person. I hate the text messaging and stuff. I'd rather, sit down and have a cup of coffee or go to dinner or play golf, something. I don't know.
I love it. Guys, follow Sean on Twitter at Sean Rash. He's on Instagram as well. Sean Rash Bowling on YouTube. He's got the fan page on Facebook. Super accomplished. What do they say? In the alley? Like on the bowling pitch?
I don't know, man. That's a good one.
On the field of play? No, it's not.
I've done it all.
Hardwood?
Right? I've won on the lanes. I won in Miller Park. We've bowled outside. I mean, we've done all kinds of really
Where's
cool
your favorite place you bowled?
Ooh. In the world?
Sure.
Man, I've had a lot of success in Thailand. I've won 3 times in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Winning my first Masters and my first major at Miller Park was phenomenal. It was my 4th win on tour. I mean, of course, you never forget your first when I won in West Virginia in 2006. But Germany's got a really cool place. Sweden's a lot of fun.
Where's the weirdest place you've ever bowled?
Ooh, China. I mean, just going to China was just a weird feeling. I mean, Shanghai is pretty much Americanized, right? I don't know if you've ever been to China, but same thing with like the Middle East. I've been to the Middle East, I don't know, a dozen times or so. I've been to Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain. I know what happened in 2001 was dreadful for our country, but when I go to that part of the world, we are treated like royalty. It's Americanized. There are some really good people there. I know I'll probably get backlash for that, and I don't, because there's still good people everywhere in the world. I don't care what anybody says.
100%.
Because there's bad people in Asia, there's bad people in South America. But when I'm in the Middle East with those people, I feel it. I mean, we work in Saudi Arabia, it's the prince, 2 of the royal family run the event. I mean, we do this huge party. Just some really, really good people there. I've only been to South America once, but man, nothing like bowling at home. You can never. I've won at Parkside Lanes in Aurora. That's my home alley in Illinois. That was my 14th title, I think, or 15th, something like that. That was pretty special. Winning with Matt Ogle, my doubles, his first title. You can never forget that one. Letting someone or helping someone win their first title and dream come true. So, but winning at home, bowling in front of your family and friends, you'll never forget it.
There is nothing like those moments. I like take the mental picture of them all because I know they're not going to last long, and I have about 4 or 5 of them that are just imprinted in my brain forever. So
yeah,
Sean, I appreciate you coming on, man. Good luck the rest of the way. Safe travels, good health.
Yeah.
Enjoy your cold beers when you get home for Easter, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate your time.